This is the Spirit and Wellness Show. News and information from a higher perspective. With your host, Harry Wilkinson. Happenings in the world of politics, technology, the environment, everything that and sports, even, which we're actually going to talk about today. We don't often get to sports, but sports has been a bit in the news lately, so we talk about these things, and we talk about all of these things, these stories in the news, these things that we interact with on a daily and weekly basis, whether it's through traditional media or through your new media, through your smartphones or tablets or your social media, all of these things that are now increasingly a part of our lives. And we take a look at all of these things back. We take a deep breath and we reconnect. We reconnect with a knowing that these things around us that we're interacting with are creations and not the truth of who and what we really are. But they're creations that we have produced in order for us to experience certain things. And those things that we experience through our interactions, whether it be experiencing feelings of loss or pain, or whether it be experiencing feelings of excitement or happiness, whatever it elicits, it's there to support your reconnection and your expansion as a being, not just as a being having this human experience, but as a spiritual being as well. To remind ourselves the truth of who and what we are, the spirit of who and what we are. And I consider a wellness technique, as I've mentioned many times before on the show, because increasingly we are exposed to all kinds of media, whether we like it or not. And sometimes the impulse is to, turn it off, shut it down, walk away from it, and that's fine, so far as it goes. However, as I often say, unless you're willing to really jump off the grid and live on a mountaintop somewhere, you won't be able to do that for very long. And maybe just a day or two, a break from it is good enough for you and all you need. But for most of us, there's a level of anxiety, there's a level of stress that comes with being sort of bombarded with these things from the media. And sometimes it's barely noticeable, other times it's very much so, but little by little and over time, it can really start to build up. And you might not even notice these things activating your stress response. We've been talking about stress response quite a bit the past couple of episodes here. But they do, because they elicit feelings of, most news stories are not particularly stories that inspire, although they can be. They're usually telling you about something that's going on that's concerning, and they're usually rather fear-based in much of what they do. Our media, they need to get attention, they need to get ratings, and so in order to do that, they present material in ways that uh, can be quite button pushing, and they're designed to, grab your interest immediately or grab your attention immediately. And oftentimes those things can mean triggering a stress response. And I think it happens for most of us these days. And it can feel overwhelming. So taking that step back, realizing the truth of all of this, is empowering in that we begin to reaffirm our sense of, not only our sense of self, but our sense of control, our sense of, being, our sense of being in control, our sense of empowerment. Sometimes it feels like events are happening and we have no control over them, but that's not the truth of who we are. If you think about it, and there's plenty of scientific research that supports this, the very act of sending energy or taking energy away from a situation changes that situation. What we now know about quantum physics reaffirms that. These wave particles respond to our energy. Everything is energy. And so it makes sense that what you put your energy into and how you do so has an effect. I talked, I guess it was a couple of weeks ago on the show, in reference to some rather snarky remarks people were making about the aftermath of some of these hurricanes and the devastation, and how people were saying, thoughts and prayers. And the snarky remarks that, thoughts and prayers don't do anything. Why don't you send money? And we talked about this. And by all means, find out the best way to send material support in that way. Money, or if they need clothes, or whatever charities that seem to be legitimate. If you want to interact with those, that's absolutely an excellent idea. Thoughts and prayers are not insignificant. Thoughts and prayers, in fact, are more powerful, because money takes a while to get to where it needs to get to. Clothes and other goods take a while to get to where they need to get to. And as we're seeing in Puerto Rico right now, a lot of the money and goods that they need aren't getting to them because of various problems, transportation-wise and otherwise. But the energy that you send through thought, through prayer. Okay, don't use the word prayer if you don't like the word prayer. Meditation, good thoughts, good energy, whatever it is that whatever word you can use that you can deal with, that has an immediate effect. And as I said, there's plenty of research that supports the effects of positive energy being directed towards a situation or a person. It has helped in illnesses. There's research on that. It has helped in states of mind, to help someone who's suffering with depression or other debilitating anxiety or mental states, and it helps immediately. It's there right away, because thoughts move quicker than material goods. So while it might seem to be a lazy or insincere way of lending support, It is not, or at least it doesn't have to be. If you're insincere about your intentions, sending prayer and good energy, yeah. But sincere meditations on the health and wholeness and the good energy sent to these situations, it has immediate effects. So, anyway, I went on my soapbox about that again. I did not mean to. But yes, Puerto Rico now is a place that where plenty of problems are occurring, and they have not gotten the help and the aid that they need. The reason is, the difference is between, Florida and Texas. These states and the cities that were affected have infrastructure that has been put in place. Now, that's not to say that they didn't have devastating effects. Of course they did. There's only so much infrastructure can do when you have storms of this magnitude. But the fact is, Puerto Rico, which is a part of the United States, but has not been given what it needs to establish its infrastructure. It's been struggling. And it's been struggling for a long time, and there have been many requests from Puerto Rico for help from the United States government because of the economic situation in which they find themselves in. Puerto Rico is one of those places where they are part of the United States, but it's almost the old colonial model. It's like they are annexed into the United States, but they don't share, or they are not allowed to share in many circumstances, the benefits of now. The effects of this, come to full fruition with the results of Maria, the storm that hit and has caused such devastation. I mean, there's more devastation in Puerto Rico than if you combine both of the other storms, the one in Florida, Irma, and the one in Texas. What's happened in Puerto Rico is far beyond both of those. And yet they are only now getting attention. There were other areas neglected, like the Virgin Islands, another part of the United States that is ignored because people don't. I wonder how many people are aware that the Virgin Islands is a part of the United States and that Puerto Rico is a part of the United States. They're not foreign countries. Okay, so you're not giving foreign aid. They're part of our country, and yet they are treated like as if they were foreign countries, and they're certainly treated with a certain degree of second-class citizenry. Oh my goodness. Getting on my soapbox again. Okay. I gotta refocus here and get back to our topic. So we're basically talking today, our fall wellness edition. We're talking about ways in which we can boost our immune system to deal with, the common things that come about in the fall. Everything from allergies, which if you suffer from hay fever or grass allergies, those are huge around this time of year.